Hello and welcome to you all. My name is Vishal, and this is our cohort for BIM, or for that matter, ISO 19650 and 9001. If you're following the series, at the end of the series, you would be able to put up a case study to your management how you can have ISO 19650 and 9001 work together to give a value to the organization, and that becomes the fabric of your organization, wherein you create value, and it also becomes the organizational habit. So 9001 talks about process lines. Perhaps it's a factory code, if you may say, but we are trying to take it into services code, as not code, sorry, standard, but we're taking it into services so that we can. Most of the organizations are 9001, so we they put some effort on it. We want to, on top of it, we're going to use 19650. If you are an engineering company, or for that matter, if you are a company who does drawings a lot, can be architects, can be consultants, through the whole chain. We're going to talk about all that today. After these messages, welcome back. I just need to make sure that we have our colleagues from Zoom as well joined in. Give me a bit. Let me just get them on as well. Give me a bit. So we're talking about creating value for your organization.
Recording in progress.
If you are already an organization that has, give me a bit. If you are an organization that has engineering in your core, especially in build environment, we are only talking about build environment. And if you are doing any of the, if your processes has any of the drawing involvement in it, it's all about all that. So give me a bit. Colleagues are joining on the LinkedIn. Sorry, yes, we are on LinkedIn, of course, and we are on Zoom as well. LinkedIn gives you the ability to get information from live streaming, and of course Zoom gives you the ability of a two-way communication, in other words. So since we have everybody on board, I can see there are some people joined on the Zoom, some are there on LinkedIn as well. You're more than welcome today. So other things that we do, that's a tech tip for our Tuesday. We do Tech Tuesdays, which is about the Fire and Berg panel. When it comes to Fire and Berg, it's for household, chapter number 29. And the Berg side of it, which is the security panels, will be chapter number, which is NFPS 731. As far as 19650 is concerned, our domain that we're talking about, we talked about in the Thursday trivia. These are the posts that I keep putting on LinkedIn as well as in our WhatsApp group. We are nearly 600 plus group of members who help each other out with questions in related to build environment. Can be anything, and that's the definition. I want to move very quickly on to our session today. So that's our lesson plan. We are at the second part today. We're talking about standardization. We will be talking about ISO 19650. And by the way, this lesson plan is already there on the link from, if you're on the LinkedIn, you scroll down, look at the comments, you will have this lesson plan link over there. So we keep updating it, and of course the recording of the previous sessions is also linked over there for your convenience, and of course jog your memory at times. So if you can see, that's what we were talking about. Since we are trying to see, we not trying rather, we are doing to create value for an organization who is already ISO 9001, and we are embedding 19650. Now, provided this organization is in built environment, okay, they are in the built environment, which could be from the point of an architect to the point of when the building is built, and we are talking about greenfield projects only. All my examples usually would be greenfield project only, from an architect till the general contractors, till the FM company, which is managing the project, which is managing the building afterwards, to the demolition guy. So these all people are involved, and they all have something or other to do with the drawings and the build environment information, call it anything. It could be a visual information about the drawings. It could be the information about the material of construction, the thickness of the whatever it has been constructed, country of origin perhaps, mean time between failure of that component, so on and so forth. So all that information is in there, and these all are called modeling. So we are saying we want to create a value, and since most of the organizations, I mean, reputed organization will have at least bare minimum ISO 9001, which is more about process, customer orientation, what is the function of the organization, how they are aligning to the organization, aligning to the customer requirement, how their internal processes ensure that the customer get best quality. So that is what we are doing, and we are blending with it 19650, because we are an engineering company, and that engineering company should be able to get these services in a way that you are able to create value for your organization. So if you're a budding BIM manager or an enterprise BIM manager who has been asked to do BIM, these are the classes for you. And these are free of cost. We're not charging anything. However, we expect you to write back to us, maybe unmute yourself if you're on Zoom, and discuss things. So we move on very quickly. So there are many names by which the clients are being called. So, and I will come to that in a bit. Now, the client for an architect would be the person who is investing money into the overall project, right? However, for a subcon, for example, he's only supplying or she's only supplying a water pump in the building. For them, the client would be the MEP contractor, right? So there are definitions all around, and there are these language barriers, not in terms of language in the sense of what I'm talking at this very moment, language or the lingo in terms of the industry. So that is the one thing that 19650 has done brilliantly. It's trying to normalize it so that if you are working in a GCC, which is a global capability center, in India, perhaps, in Philippines, and perhaps in Egypt, in Lebanon, perhaps, and you are working there, and somebody comes and talks to your client, and you're an architect, you understand who they are talking about, right? So that is what it is trying to do. It's trying to normalize these definitions, and that's what we're going to talk about today. And mind you, all our slides, which you see over here, they are referenced in Harvard style systems, and these are the numbers that go along with it. And at the end of the slide, we have the referencing there. So now, as far as 19650 is concerned, it's more into information function. So with that information, what function you are supporting, it works on those terms. So an architect might be called an appointing party. A contractor would be called, now I'm talking about general contractor over here, lead appointed party, and sub-consultant contractors might be called task team. We will keep looking at this more as we keep going on, and that is where ISO 19650 is going. It's trying to standardize all that, trying to standardize so that we all use the same lingo. you be a GCC guy. And when I say GCC over here, it's not the Gulf Cooperation and all. It's about Global Capability Center. You are working remotely for one of your clients in another part of the some part of the world. If if you're on site and if you're sitting in a GCC, you both talk the same language, and that is where and I think that's a very good way to start it. So as far as 19650 is concerned, it's trying to shift, and it's to very good extent has succeeded as well, to change from the job title perspective to a function perspective. And that's what we're going to see in coming slides. So that's the trinity of the function. So if you see, overall, there's an appointing party, there's a lead party, and then you have an appointed party, or what you call an task team. Now, the appointing party defines the why and what, why they need this information, what information is required, right? So in one of the buildings, in one of the projects, and again a built environment project, they might need the grade of the cement that was to be poured in. Just giving example, wild examples. But in some others, they might not need it, so they will not put that what information in there. Usually, they are 99.99%. They all ask for the grade. So let me just draw a hierarchy over here. Give me a moment. So let me just draw. So this is our client. So how things are working as far as now. This is the guy or an institution or a builder who wants to build a building. Okay. They want to do a building. So he or she appoints an architecture, right? An architect, once he has done everything, and if the client says, Mr. Architect, you become client representative. Okay. So you can see the lingo that I'm talking about. See, these are the lingos that are used in the industry at great length. And of course, they don't go. The architect does not do it on their own. They keep going back and forth to the client for approvals and all. Sometimes the client is the bank who is funding this building, or any financial institution. Okay, it can be anybody, maybe government for that matter, right? And there could be multi stakeholders who are actually churning the money. So they define, this architect would define the why and the what. Now comes, after this would be after the architect will come your general contractors. In other words, your civil contractor, right? Under the civil contractor, you will have your MEP contractor. Under your MEP contractors, you will have maybe a fire contractor, maybe a separate electrical contractor. I don't know, maybe they might subcontract their plumbing as well. I don't know. I'm just saying. Usually they will do the whole thing themselves. Maybe they are not very good at HVAC. Maybe they will give the HVAC to somebody else. Maybe they are not good at the solar system. Maybe they will give the solar part to somebody else. Okay. So those are the overall contracting life cycle, right? So that is where we are talking about here, and that is where the whole thing comes in. Now, what we are saying here is, so this is these becomes our appointing party. Okay, if this architecture is working for them, lead appointing party would be your, oh sorry, my bad, oops, would be this guy, and your MEP and the rest of them would be these people. Now, mind you one thing, as the project and the contracts are signed in between, and there's a line in 19650, as that keeps happening, the definition of client for that person's perspective keeps changing. So if the MEP contractor is hiring a fire contractor for a fire pump, the client for them, for the fire pump guy, would be the MEP guy. Yeah, of course, behind them, there is a whole chain of command that needs to approve things. But again, once the fire once the MEP contractor or the consultant, whosoever is on board and has the authority to approve, they approves, he's done. He might not even see the client, the real client who is putting the money in. So with that, we'll move forward. Give me a bit. There's one of our colleagues is joining on. Okay. So the appointing party, client, owner, the legacy terms is clients, owner, employer. The function is to establish the exchange information requirement and projects CDE. So here is things starts going wrong. So once the appointing party does not establish the CDE, they are the owners of CDE. If they are not establishing, your budgeting goes wrong of the project, your everything starts going wrong, and they expect that the subcontractors and the contractors that come below them, and I will keep in your head that that org chart that I created, things starts going wrong. So if the architect has not done that, created a CDE and the information, and they have not done a BEP, which is BIM execution plan, things starts to go wrong from there itself, because the information is all scattered out there in the contracts, and that is what 19650 and the BIM process tries to do. It brings everything in one place. It brings everything in one single truth that is called the CDE. The CDE becomes your single truth, and that is where everything should be. If it is approved, it's in the CDE, right? Your common data environment, which is a fancy word for a shared drive sometimes. As of now, just take it like that. If you're a novice coming new into this industry, just take it, it's a common drive, shared drive in your organization wherein you're saving, you're dumping your files. It's more than that. We will come to in our later discussions. So that's the person who is doing it, the lead appointed party. The legacy terms is prime contractor, general contractor, lead designer. So these are the legacy terms. Now they are called lead appointing party. So I'm giving the lexicon, the lexicon of and the vocabulary of what was then and what is now. And those are the functions. The key responsibility establishing the BIM execution plan, and of course this BIM execution plan does not get implemented just like that. They have to get the approval by all means, and then they are the one who's complying the MIDP. That's very important, which is the master information delivery plan, which goes to the client. Okay, and why this client is asking this information? Now we are only talking about greenfield projects. We're not talking brownfield. Why this information is required is building needs to be operated at one point of time when it is handed over, and these information would be required to maintain the building structure itself, the systems in there, which could be counting to from anywhere from 100 to 200 to 300 systems in a building itself. So it's a huge information that needs to be managed. And the appointing party, sub-consultant, trade suppliers, your electrical contractors are trade suppliers, your low voltage contractors, trade suppliers, your audiovisual AV people, they are trade suppliers, so on and so forth. And their work is to do the TIDP, which is the task information delivery plans. Please understand, the BIM industry is very heavy on acronyms, and I like to make sure that I expand those acronyms for everyone's benefit. So what is 19650 trying to do is they are trying to be functional instead of information of silos. So it's not a drawing or an information which is non-visual, which is lying in somebody's hard disk somewhere, okay, or at somebody's desk. It's in the CDE. Now, if just take a very small example, the fire contractors wants to install their FM200 cylinders, and these are big cylinders in a building, in a room. They want to make sure that the brackets that secures the cylinder to the wall, they can penetrate into the wall properly, and the wall is good enough or heavy or solid enough to hold this cylinder. Now, they need to know what kind of wall it is, what kind of material of construction it is, can it handle this kind of strength, what is the thickness of it, so that they can draw the bolts in and it does not actually come out from the other side. Now, this information they will get. They don't need to have to go to anybody. They don't need to go to the civil contractor. They have this information already on the BIM, right? They just retrieve this information, make their calculations, boom, they're gone. Nobody needs to give them approval. They already have this information, right? Though you can still go ahead and have an approval process, but I'm just telling you the ease of information is you're speeding up the information flow. So that's where the roles are changing. It's all about functions. You don't you the Mr. Director Engineer is not the one who's directing the overall thing. CDE is the new director in that matter. So the overall flow, the task team has a whip, the lead appointed team shares it, and that's the appointing party publishes it. So once it's published, it's approved, right? That is the overall life cycle of the approval. Now that's the life cycle perspective. I'm pretty sure that if you have seen ISO 19650, you would have seen similar image over there as well. So that's what we're trying to do here is your project information management and your asset information management. Uh, it's a cycle. It keeps going on. It's a, and then once you have this information clear, you do your who's going to do what. The appointing party is defining requirements. The lead appointed party is defining the delivery plan. Uh, and of course, the appointed party is generate the model in geometry. So the appointed party or for the subcontractor, they are the one who's generating the um, overall model, visual model. And of course, they are asked to put information as well, which is like schedules of your cables, perhaps schedules of your devices in the building, their tag numbers, and so on and so forth. So the standardization map in tradition, just to summarize it now, we're coming to the end of our session, is your client owner appointing party defines the organization information requirements, asset information requirement. Your prime or a GC will manages the MIDP, the appointed party do the TIDP, and that's how the overall, again, it's function. So from it becomes very cumbersome at times because the appointing party might have their own subcon or their sister concern company who might be doing their own work, who can do the MEP. So then these definitions starts spinning ahead, and that's the reason it's more about function. Who is doing this information? That is where 19650 goes in. And those are the references for you, wherein we got all this information. We do not share anything on our in our session, which is hearsays. We do substantiate it from credible sources, and then of course we show them over here as well. No hiding there. So in the next session, what we're going to do is we're going to see, and here's the rubber starts hitting the road now. Here is where we'll start converting the creating an organizational habit wherein 19650 and 9001 actually starts aligning to the strategic goals of an organization. Now, let's say the organization's strategic goal is to reduce or to improve engineering drawings approval by 20% on year, just giving a fake number. So how's that going to happen? You need to change your internal processes. You need to maybe educate people, and you need to tie into the organizational fabric the way things are done. And here is where we will have a small introduction in our next session with 9001, which talks about quality and quantity, and of course the overall process in terms of why an organization was also prepared. And that is where strategy also comes in, right? So yes, we will be also, might be, we will talk about the actual thing is that when we finish our sessions, as I showed you before, when we finish our sessions, that's our lesson plan. Give me a bit. Yeah, that's a lesson plan. So by the time we reach here, okay, by the time we reach here, we at least have a BEP together made prepared by ourselves. So you and me, we will sit together and make a BEP, and we'll make a budget for implementing BIM in your organization. So that's what will be doing. And of course, we will have the and as we keep going along, we will have the overall information as well, how you're going to do it. As somebody in the WhatsApp group, sorry, in the Zoom session wants to say something. I heard something. No? Okay. With that, we come to the end of our session today. You have been a very awesome audience. Um, and take very good care of yourself in the coming weekends and enjoy. Up until next week, we might have a delay on our session. Maybe we skip the next one. Keep looking at our WhatsApp group. And if you want to join our WhatsApp group, at the end of this session on the bottom right, you will see a QR code. You can always scan that and join our WhatsApp group. Up until next week, you take very good care of yourself. Thank you. Bye-bye.